Good morning. Hope you're all safe and well. Today is Wednesday, Yud Aleph Tevis. Today's share is sponsored Lila Nishmas Aaron Nachum and Simcha Cohen, Yusha Mordechai Ben Shepsel, Bracha Savish Balev, Yana Moshe Ben Abinam Moshe Ben Yosef Ben Hashemas will have an Aliyah. And for Shlema for Ada Sarah Bas Leah, Chan Pesel Bas Yenta, Yisrael Ben Rachel Leah, Rachel Bas Pesel Zelda, Avram ben Yitzchak ben Risha and Chaya bas Doba Bela. For Shlema b'Sol Shar Chol Yisrael. Amen. I'm going to be back at the regular 9 o'clock hour. Yesterday was not my favorite day of the year. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, Perek, Perek Gimel. We're doing Perek Gimel today. Eiruvin Perek Gimel, Perek Gimel Dal and Hey talk about Tchum Shabbos and Eruv Tchumim. Eruv Tchumim is different from Eruv Chatzeros. We're going to talk about Eruv Tchumim today, and we'll get to Eruv Chatzeros later. Okay, so what? So um, the Tchum Shabbos and the Eruv Tchumim apply on Shabbos and also on Yom Tov. The person is a derabanan to go more than 2,000 amos from his residence on Shabbos and Yom Tov. This is known as the Tchum Shabbos, or just the Tchum. A person's Tchum is measured from his residence, which is defined based on upon the place where he was when Shabbos began. If he was in a town, then the Tchum is measured from the town's limits. If he was in an isolated building, the tchum is measured from its outer walls, and if he was out in the open, then his residence extends 4 amos, and the tchum is measured from that area. So it really depends where you are. A person can change his place of residence, and therefore changes his his tchum before Shabbos by means of a ruvi tchumim. He does this by putting food in a place of the 2,000 amos from his actual residence. With respect to the laws of Tchum, his residence is shifted to that place, and the Tchum extends 2,000 amos from there. This does not give him more than 2,000 amos. Then this does not give him more than the 2,000 amos limit. It really shifts the point from which it is measured. So, for example, if he places his Eruv 2,000 amos to the north of his house, he may go so far as 4,000 amos to the north of his house, because there's 2,000 amos from his house to the tchum that he placed, and 2,000 amos from the tchum to past it to the north. But he cannot go south at all, because that would take him more than 2,000 amos from his Eruv that he put up. That's a brief intro to these three parakim. So let's get into it. Perek Gimel Mishnah Aleph. Um, we're going to start off talking about what types of foods can be used to make a Eruv Techumim or a Shtufim Avos. A Shtufim Avos is it basically, if several courtyards open into a mavoi, which is an alley, and then the chacham answered carrying in the mavoi unless the residents make a shtufim mavois, which is a yeshita. It's like a partnership, for the alleyway. They do this by collecting food from all the residents and placing it in one of the courtyards. So it's a similar thing regarding Eruv Chatzeros, just that the chacham aser carrying in a shared mavoi. So just as they aser carrying in a shared mavoi, they also aser carrying in a shared courtyard, unless they made a Eruv Chatzeros. It's the same concept. Um, so the difference The difference being that a Rui Chatzeris may only be done with bread, and a Shtufim Avois can be done with all types of food. Okay, let's go. We may make an Eruv or a Shituf with anything, any types of food except water and salt, because these are not considered food. All kinds of food may be bought with money, except for water and salt, because they do not meet the requirements set by the Torah for this purpose. I know them in Hamas, one who vows to refrain from nourishing food is permitted to eat water and salt, but they do not provide nourishment. Ravin the Nazir b'yayin, we may make an Eruv for Nazir with wine, even though he's also to drink it. Will Yisrael b'truma, and for a Yisrael, if someone is not a Kohen, b'truma, even though he is also to eat it too. But the Eruv may not be consumed by its owner. In these cases, it is kosher because it may be consumed by other people. Sumchos Omer b'chulin. But Simcha says that Eruv for Yisrael must be made with chulin and not with truma, because Eruv is valid only if its owner is allowed to eat it. That'd be an afkamina becoming Pesach. They can't make a Eruv with chametz. Ulakohen b'beis pras, and Uri Techumen may be placed for a kohen in a beis pras. It is an area that is suspected to contain human bones, because he may walk to the Eruv is if he's careful not to touch any bones. Rabbi Yehuda says, "I feel it may be even be placed in a cemetery because he is able to go and make a partition between himself and the graves and eat the Eruv. Since it is possible for the Kohen to access the Eruv, it is mutter." Um, right. Okay. Mishnah Beis. Me'oravim b'damai. Me'oravim b'damai. We may make an eruv with damai because it is fit for poor people to eat. With ma'aser rishon shenita tumaso, or with ma'aser rishon whose tumas ma'aser hasn't separated, which is fit for anyone to eat. With ma'aser sheni v'hektish sheniftu, or with ma'aser sheni and consecrated food that have been redeemed, which are also fit for anyone to eat. And Kohanim as well as Israelim, they can make an Eruv with challah truma because these foods are fit for Kohanim to eat. I have a love of teva, but we may not make an Eruv with tevel. We love ma'aser rishon shalom to trumaso, or with ma'aser rishon whose trumas ma'aser has not been separated. We love ma'aser sheni and hektish shalom niftu, or with ma'aser sheni which is outside Yerushalayim, and consecrated food that have not yet been redeemed. Because Moshe Sheni is usher outside Yerushalayim, and consecrated items are prohibited everywhere. Hashaleach Eruvo biyad chereshot katan. If someone sends his Eruv Techumen in the hand of a deaf mute, a deranged person, or a minor, or in the hand of a heretic who does not accept the laws of Eruv. Eruv, it is not a valid Eruv, because one must place Eruv with the intent to make its location his residence. Someone who's a deaf mute, a deranged person, or a minor are not capable of having this kavanah at a legally recognized level, and a heretic cannot be trusted to have this intent. If the owner told another qualified person to accept it from one of these unqualified people and then place it for him, then it is a kosher Eruv. So before as we start Mishnah Gimel, someone who makes an and Eruv does not need to put the food in exactly the place he intends to designate as a new residence. As long as the food is accessible from the designated place during Beresh Moshes on Friday evening, then the Eruv is kosher. Okay, so Mishnah Gil, Nasna be'ilan, Lamala Miyasar Tvachim Ein Eruv. If he put the food on a tree and is above 10 tvachim, his Eruv is not a valid Eruv. This is because the food is in a private domain, and therefore it would be forbidden during Ben Hashmashos to bring the food to the place in the Rosh Hashanah that he wants to establish as his residence. Since he cannot take the food at the proper time, his Eruv is possible. However, if he put the food below 10 tvachim, his Eruv is a kosher Eruv. The food in this case is not a shus yachid, but a carmelis. And carrying from a carmelis to a shus harabim is usher only according to the dirt. Is only as their abundant. And Isur Derabanan are lifted during Ben Hashmashos for the sake of making an Eruv Techumen. So he is mutter, therefore, to take the food at the required time, which makes the Eruv kosher. Nasnu Babar, Afilu Amok Mea Ama, Eruv. If he put the food in a pit, even if it's 100 amos deep, his Eruv is a kosher Eruv. The pit in a private in a Rishus Hayachid, the pit's in Rishus Hayachid, and he wants to establish his residence in the area nearby, which is a Carmelis. So carrying from a private domain to a Carmelis is forbidden only derbanan, and as we mentioned before, the Suri Derabanan are lifted during Ben Hashmashos for the sake of making an Eruv Techumen. Nas the Rosh Hashanah or Rosh Hakundus. If he placed the food on top of a reed or on top of a pole, he wants to make his residence next to the reed or pole. This man should tell us no, it's a filo gavoa mea ama hareza Eruv. As long as the reed has been uprooted and it is only stuck into the ground, then even if it was 100 amos high, this is a kosher Eruv. There's no problem with carrying this case because the top of the reed or pole is a makom patur, from which carrying is permitted even under the chachamim. Nevertheless, the Eruv is valid only if the reed had been uprooted, because if it was still planted in the ground, taking the food from it would be prohibited for fear that one will break a piece off the reed, which is usher under the malacha of reaping. Okay, nasne b'migdal avad hamafteyach hareza Eruv. If you put the food in a cabinet, lock the cabinet, and then lost the key, this is the kosher Eruv. Although he cannot open the lock, he can open the cabinet during Ben Hashmashos by cutting the rope with a knife. Rabbi Eliezer says, if he does not know that the key is in its place, that it might be lost, it is not a kosher Eruv according to Rabbi Eliezer. It is also to cut the rope with a knife. Therefore, if the key might be lost, the Eruv is possible. Mishnah Dalet is galgal chutz l'tchum if he placed the food near the edge of his tchum and it rolled out of the tchum, the nafal alav gal or nisraf, or a pile of rubble fell on it, or it was burned, or chuma v'nitmes, or it was chuma and it became tamei and may no longer be eaten. In each of these cases, the law is as follows: if the accident happened when it was still daytime on Friday before Ben Hashmashos kicked in, it is not a kosher Eruv because the food cannot be accessed or could not be eaten during Ben Hashmashos. But if the accident happened after it had definitely become dark, after it's of him, then then it's a kosher Eruv. Since the food could be eaten during Benesh Moshes, then the Eruv took effect at that time and remains enforced throughout Shabbos. In Safik, if it is unknown when the accident happened, then Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda Omrim, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda say, Hareza Chamra Gamal. This is like a person driving a donkey and a camel who cannot walk in front of the donkey or behind the camel, but only between the two animals. In our case, the owner may walk only between the Eruv and his house. He may not go beyond the Eruv because the Eruv might be puzzled. And he may not go beyond his house in the opposite direction because the Eruv might be kosher. Therefore, he's confined in the area between the two. Rabbi Shimon say, Safek Eruv kosher, and Eruv is of unknown status is kosher, since the Eruv was known to be accessible and fit to eat when it was placed. We assume that it stayed that way through Ben Hashmashos. Rabbi Yossi says, Av Tumus Hey Mishum Chamisha Zakenim Al Safek Eruv Shekasher. Av Tumus he attested in the name of the five chachamim that an Eruv of an unknown status is kosher. Okay, so Mishnah Hay talks about a person who does not know whether he will need an Eruv on Shabbos, and if he does need one, where to put it. Its first example is that of a person who heard that tax collectors might pursue him on Shabbos, and he wants to escape from them, but he does not know whether they will come from the east or from the west or from both directions. It's also possible they will not come at all. So his solution is to put out two Eiruvin, one to the east and one to the west, or a person cannot have more than one residence on Shabbos. Therefore, he must make clear that depending on what will happen on Shabbos, only one of the Eiruvin will actually take effect. He's putting out two, but he's only using one. So let's see how this goes. Masna Adam al Eruv. A person may attach a condition to his Eruv. For example, if he wants to avoid tax collectors who might come from the east, from the west, or from both directions, he may put out two Eruvim, one in each direction, say, if the idolaters who collect taxes come from the east, my Eruv should be the one to the west. If they come from the west, then my Eruv should be the one to the east. In Baal Mikan, the Malcolm if they come from the east and the west, I will go to the place that I will choose on Shabbos, and my Eruv shall be the one in that direction. Lo Baal, lo Mikan, Hareni Kivinei Iri. But if they don't come at all, either from the east or from the west, then neither Eruv should take effect. Rather, I'll be like the other people of my town who did not make an Eruv. So another example the Mishnah gives, this one involves a person who heard that a chacham might come to give a lecture outside the chacham of his town on Shabbos. He wants to hear the shiur, but he does not know whether the chacham will come from the east or from the west. It's also possible that two chachamim will come, one from the east direction, or that no one will come at all. So you can do the same thing. You put a two Eruv, one in each direction, and he makes the following decoration. If a chacham comes from the east, my Eruv, then my Eruv will be the one from the east. If he comes from the west, my Eruv should be the one to the west. If one chacham comes to the east and another comes to the west, I will go to the place that I will choose on Shabbos, and my Eruv shall be the one in that direction. If no chacham comes either to the west or to the east, And neither Eruv shall take effect. Rather, I will be like the other people of my town who made no Eruv. Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabba holech etzel Rabba. If one of the chacham is his teacher, he may go. He may go only to his teacher. If both are his teachers, he may go to the place he chooses on Shabbos. Mishnah Vav. The tchum applies on Yom Tov just as it applies on Shabbos. So let's see how. So Amar Rebbe says Yom Tov asamach l'Shabbos bein l'faneh bein l'achareh. When Yom Tov falls next to Shabbos, whether before it on Friday or after on Sunday, ma'arev adashnei Eiruvin va'omer. The person can make two Eiruvin in different directions, such as east and west, and say Eruv Harishon the Mizrach Vashin the Marav. The Eruv for the first day, the Eruv that is going to use on the first day of the Shabbos Yom Tov combination shall be the one to the east, and my Eruv for the second day shall be the one to the west. You can do that. Harish on the Marav and the Mizrach, or you can say that my Eruv for the first day shall be the one to the west, and my Eruv for the second day shall be the one to the east. If he wants to travel outside his tchum on only one of those 2 days, he could put out only a single Eruv and say, Eruv Harisha Vasheni Kivnei Iri. My Eruv shall be only for the first day, and for the second day I shall be like the other people in my town who did not make an Eruv. Eruv Hasheni Varisha Kivnei Iri. Or you can say that my Eruv shall be only for the second day, and for the first day I shall be like the people of my town. Rebbe Lezer holds that although Shabbos and Yom Tov are consecutive, each is treated separately with regards to the laws of Tchum, and one can establish a different residence for each day. But the chachamim say, "Ma'arev l'ruach achas o ena ma'arev kol ikr." Surely you agree that for a single day of Shabbos or Yom Tov, one can make an Eruv to one direction for the entire day, or not make an Eruv at all. One cannot make an Eruv to one direction for half of the day, and an Eruv and the other half of the day for a different direction, because you can only have one residence for a single day. Similarly, when Shabbos and Yom Tov are consecutive, since they form a 48-hour period of Kedusha, one can either make the same Eruv for both days or not make an Eruv at all. But one cannot make an Eruv in a different direction for each day. Ketsuya says, how should one make an Eruv for both days? He should bring the food for the Eruv before Ben Hashmashos on Erev Yom Tov Erev Shabbos to the desired place, and wait until dark, thereby establishing his residence for the first day. Then after Ben Hashmashos, he should take it and go home where he can keep it safe. On the second evening, he should bring the food back to the same place and wait until dark, thereby reestablishing his residence the second day. And after Ben Hashmashos, he can eat it. By taking the food home after the first Ben Hashmashos, he prevents the food from being lost. And as a result, he benefits with regard to his walking, that the food will still be available for him to make a new Eruv on the second day, which will allow him to walk an additional 2,000 amos in that direction. And he benefits with regard to the food of his Eruv because it will be available for him to eat on the second day. If, however, it was eaten or lost on the first day, his Eruv is kosher for the first day, but is not a valid Eruv for the second day, since it was only in place only during the first banished message. Not the second one is effective only for the first day, not the second. Amalehem Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer said to the Modim Atem Li Shehen Shtei Kedushos. Since you said that the Eruv eat on the first day is not kosher for the second day, you clearly agree with me that Shabbos and Yom Tov are two separate periods of kedusha. If so, you should agree that one can establish a separate residence for each day. Okay, now we're going to talk about the Yom Tov Rosh Hashanah, which even in Eretz Yisrael is a 2-day Yom Tov. All the other Yom Tov in Eretz Yisrael are 1 day. Rosh Hashanah, even Eretz Yisrael, is also 2 days. So that's different. Mishnah Zion. Rabbi Yehuda says, Rosh Hashanah, Shahaya Yarei Shema Tisaber. If before Rosh Hashanah, the person is concerned that the current month of Elul might be extended to be 30 days instead of 29, Rosh Hashanah must be observed 2 days, and one needs to travel in a different direction on each day. Ma'arev Adam Shnei Eiruvin va'omer. And a person may make 2 Eiruvin, one to the east and one to the west, and say, Eruv Risho, the Mizrach, Ubashin, the Marv. Eruv for the first day is to the east, and the second day is to the west. Rishon, the Marv, Ubashin, the Mizrach. Or you can say the Eruv for the first day is to the west, and the second day is for the east. If he wants to travel on only one of the 2 days, he can put out one Eruv and say, Eruv Rishon, Ubashini, Kivnei Iri. My Eruv shall be for the first day, and for the second day I should be the other people of my town who did not make an Eruv. Or he can even say the Eruv for the second day, and for the first day I shall be like the other people of my town. According to Yehuda, the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah are 2 separate periods of holiness, and one may therefore establish a separate residence for each one. The chacham did not agree with him. They hold that the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah are a single period of continuous holiness, because it's Yom HaRichta, and therefore you must have one residence for both days. Two more Mishnayos to go. Continuing with this machlokas between Rabbi Yehuda and the chacham about the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. But it's not only to the Eruv Tachum, it's also to other matters of halacha as well. So let's go. Rabbi Yehuda, this is Mishnah Ches. Yehuda also said, "Masna Adam alcha kala b'yom tov rishon v'achla b'sheni." Person may make a condition about a basket of tevel on the first Yom Tov, on the first day Yom Tov, of Rosh Hashanah, and eat it on the second day. Therefore, that meaning you can designate a portion of the tevel as truma or meiser on the first day and say, if this is an ordinary day, then the food I am separating should become truma. If today is Yom Tov, then nothing shall take effect. The next day you can say, if this is an ordinary day, then the food I separated yesterday should become truma now. And if today is Yom Tov, it already became truma yesterday. After making the statement on the second day, he may eat the rest of the food because the separation definitely took effect by then. Separate truma in this matter is mutter Rosh Hashanah because the food became truma on whichever day was not Yom Tov. So too, an egg that was laid on the first day, Rosh Hashanah, can be eaten on the second day, because you can't eat it that day because of no blood, but you can eat it the next day. Below hold the chacham that the chacham did not agree with him in his rulings because they hold that the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah are one long kedusha, Yom HaRichta, and therefore the way he separated truma is possible, and the egg laid on the first day does not become mutter till the end of the second day. So the second day is a continuation of the first. Mishnah test, the final Mishnah for today. Rabbi Dosa ben Herkinis, Rabbi Dosa ben Herkinis says, over the Neateva Yom Tov Shana Omer, the one who's about tefillah on the first day of Hashanah, he says in his tefillah, Hachalitzeinu Hashem Elokeinu es Yom Rosh Chodesh Hazeh V'im Hayom Ilamacha. Strengthen us, Hashem, our God, on this day of Rosh Chodesh, whether it is today or tomorrow. Ulamachar, Omer, Im Hayom, Im Emesh, and the next day he says, strengthen us, Hashem, our God, on this day of Rosh Chodesh, whether it's today or yesterday. Then this, this Bal Tefillah should also say the same Tefillah for Rosh Hashanah itself, since Radosa is making 2 points. One, that Rosh Chodesh is mentioned in the Tefillahs of Rosh Hashanah, and two, that there must be made clear that one of the 2 days is Rosh Chodesh, Rosh Hashanah, because otherwise the prayer would appear to be a lie. But the chacham disagree with both points. The chacham did not agree with him. In their opinion, the Rosh Chodesh is not mentioned separately. Instead, one says the day of remembrance, Yom Zikaron, which includes both Rosh Hashanah and Rosh Chodesh. Furthermore, when referring to Yom Zikaron, one should not say whether today or tomorrow, because the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah are one single long period of Kedusha and not 2 separate days. Okay, thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow for Perek Dalet. Have a wonderful day. Stay warm and safe.